Let's welcome Nicole Paradise to the stage. She's the Senior Director of Client Experience at ADP. Let's learn how she engages with her customers in an easy and effortless way. Nicole.
Complexity. Complexity is the arch enemy of product adoption. And because customers want experiences that are easy for them. They don't want complex. And so in my 15 years of architecting effortless experiences for companies, whether that's been for software companies or for folks that come to our TEDx events here in San Francisco, I've observed a commonality in nearly everyone. And that is buyers will pay a premium for just about anything if you're willing to assure them that it's going to be easy, that it's going to be effortless. And so today I want to share 3 approaches to how we think about architecting these experiences and why they should matter to any of you. And those are the concept itself of effortless, the juxtaposition between what is company success and what is customer success. And then lastly, I'll introduce an execution model. Companies assume that the products and services that you're providing are going to work. That's what they're paying you for. You don't get credit for that, right? What you get credit for is their journey with you. That journey between point A and point B. Make it clunky, make it crummy, make it complex, and you probably have an adoption issue. And you might have a churn issue. Now, make it like the green line. Make it easy to buy, easy to use, easy to service, and you leave very little room for your customers to be curious about your competitors. And that is the heart of effortless. Now, in my years of researching customer behavior, I found an unexpected insight. And that insight is what effortless is not. And that's this concept of the golden rule. We think that we should treat people the way that we want to be treated, right? The research says that that's not true. Because that assumes that we, that you and I, that we're the standard for everyone else in this room. And we're not. Companies need to treat customers the way that customers want to be treated. And so to know how that is, we need to ask. I'd like you to imagine the last customer success meeting you were in last week, 2 weeks ago. Whatever was the meeting where you were there and the agenda was about helping the customer. You're thinking about the very things we were just talking about, the asks, right? How do I get to the heart of what my customer needs? And inevitably, somewhere along the way, as the dialogue is progressing, whammo, we all fall into the same trap. We all do. And that trap is what I lovingly call the acronym soup. The acronym soup is where the meetings that we're in that are intended to be about the customer experience and the friction points they're having and why they're paying money to use your products and services quickly move away from answering their questions and measuring their metrics. And thus it becomes less about customer success and a lot more about company success. And this is not nuanced. Because if we all are serious about impacting and accelerating our ability to affect change, then we all need to be a bit more honest, from our CEOs to our interns, about the ratio of time that we're investing in talking about our customer success and really thinking about how they're the center of what we do, and the ratio of time we're spending inside of the alphabet soup that, while valuable to our company, is really not about serving our customers. And so this ratio dilemma, coupled with years of understanding how customers think about our experience and how we monetize that, it led me to develop a model. And that model seeks to balance this ratio issue that we're talking about. The way that we serve our customers and the way that we affect the viability, sustainability, growth, and profitability of our companies. And that model is called LAP. As we listen, as we action, and as we pilot, this helps us keep the customer centricity, and I've used it at nearly every organization I've been at. I was employee number 5 at a $2 million startup, and now I'm one of 56,000 global employees inside of an $11 billion organization. And my point is, this works. And it works because, 1, it's iterative, and 2, it solves for a very specific use case. And that is, how do we pilot questions that we have into our customer environment while keeping that balance ratio? The way we do that first is through listen. Salesforce estimates that 80% of our B2B customers expect real-time communication, and we just heard about that. We need chatbots, we need artificial intelligence, we need these things to keep us aligned. And most companies, yours included, are probably doing an outstanding job of that, because the framework that our companies have is about communicating in a reactive, real-time way. But there's a whole other element of how we think about our proactive communication with customers. And that entire discipline is where we think about the voice of the customer. Those voice of the customer programs are numerous. Most of us have them. And I'll share with you the 3 that I prefer. 1, customer advisory boards. Think about 56,000 employees, $11 billion, and we still within our business units find a way to take 9 to 13 customers, and they become our advisory board. Did this when I was at a small company, and we might have only had 15 customers, so they were all our advisory boards, or part of our advisory board. But think about that purpose as an intersection. The intersection of how they run their business that's changing every single day, and how you fit into their ecosystem. We tend to have this very inside-out view, the inside-out that says, I'm the company, I provide these products and services, and that is what you pay me for. Customer advisory boards have us look at the outside-in view. We start with a customer perspective, and we're able to architect our new services, our new products, back towards the sort of experience that they're telling us that they need and want to pay us for. Another tool is surveys. People tend to think of surveys as quantitative only, but there's also a qualitative value. And that is, if you're curious how your customers are experiencing the friction level of using your product, how effortless or effortful it is, there's a survey for that. If you're curious about the overall satisfaction with your company, there's a survey for that as well. And probably most popular and equally as important, if you're curious about whether your customers will attach their reputation, their name, to your company, there's a survey for that. NPS is a loyalty metric. The last one is deceptively simple. It's a question I've used over the career where I ask customers, what should we start, stop, and continue doing to help you be more successful? And why this is deceptively simple is the following. Think about having that conversation with your partner at home. Think about having that with your boss. And suddenly you're creating a framework where someone, your customer, your boss, whomever, is able to say, well, here's the thing that you're doing, and you're able to interpret that as what you're getting right, because it's an effortless experience. You're also able to understand where your company is introducing friction points into their ecosystem that you weren't even aware of. It's important to understand what we do with listen, because the research suggests that when we ask customers what they think and then we take no action, it yields an increased negative sentiment towards the company than if we hadn't asked at all. And so this is why when we ask and proactively listen to our customers, we have to take action, which is our second phase. McKinsey calculated that 70% of B2B marketing dollars and sales efforts are not spent on what matters to customers. Colgate is a fantastic example of this. Colgate, what matters to their customers? I don't know, toothpaste, health, minty breath. That's what matters to their customers. And so millions of dollars later, they knew what mattered to their customers and they introduced frozen beef lasagna. True story, Google it. It was a failure, you can imagine why. And this is the foundation, the heart of why we have to listen to customers. Because someone in some boardroom in your companies is getting this bright idea about a feature, and you're gonna spend a whole bunch of money without even testing it with the marketplace. And so a lot of us wind up being part of that 70%. That 70% that McKinsey estimates have really little to do with what our customers want. And that means that we're just kind of hoping. And hope is not a strategy. What is a strategy is how we approach the things that we want to understand and pilot with our customers. And we start with a very simple question. What do we want to know? And what do we want to know is limited to 2 questions. Remember, we have all this listening data from our customers, and this model is specifically about piloting our ideas into their ecosystem. By limiting it to 2, you avoid analysis paralysis. It's super easy to hide behind your data and never actually take action. So we limit it to 2 questions. You match the hypotheses that are associated with those 2 questions, and then the tough work starts. How do we measure what's success and what's failure from both the company perspective, that inside-out view, and the customer perspective, the outside-in view? It's important that we're realistic. Most of us have big ideas that we want to affect change for our customers. And the ecosystem in which we belong often can't take in all of those ideas. I call that organ rejection. Organ rejection is where we're unable to sustain the people, the process, and the technologies it would take to answer 2 very basic questions. And so when we say be realistic, one of the methodologies that I've used over the years, t-shirt sizing. T-shirt sizing is where your cross-functional teams come together, they have an estimation effort, and it's pretty simple. That's an extra small for my department, that's a triple XL t-shirt for my other department. And that estimation of those people, process, and technologies allows your company to know if you're gonna invest these marketing dollars and these sales dollars into something that you can even execute on. I said earlier that hope isn't a strategy. We can't just hope that our big idea is gonna make it in the marketplace if we can't even execute on it internally. As we've listened to our customers and as we've taken action, then we need to go out to the marketplace with our pilots. Our pilots ought to be selected through customers that can actually get value from the questions that we're trying to answer. The second president of IBM, he said that if you want to increase your success rate, go ahead and double your failure rate. And while that's a bit quippy, I think the heart of it is true. And the heart of that is saying that if we fail together. And that's the message that we have for our customers when we go out to them and start this pilot group. It's this idea that we have to be incredibly transparent about how we fail together and how we win together. These are existing customers, and we need to be keeping our ideas aligned with what's going to bring them the type of value that they're looking for. Which brings me to timing. Assuming most of you have read Guy's book, Farm, Don't Hunt. If you haven't, shameless plug, please buy it. But what I found fascinating is he has this very elegant framework around how we think about the cycle of our customers. And in one of the areas, he really helps us measure what is the most vulnerable time for our customers, and then when are they mature? When are they actually receiving value? We want to align our LAP model and our pilot plans with that outside-in perspective, that customer perspective, not just when it works inside of our operating plans. And lastly, and often overlooked, is the culture of a company. We said that companies need to treat customers the way that they want to be treated, not the way that we want to be treated. And one of the most overlooked areas when we're in client engagement is the culture. If you're an edgy company and you're dealing with a serious company, one of the best ways that you can avoid introducing complexity into the environment is simply mirror their behavior. It doesn't mean you stop being the cool company. It means that you're committed to the success of what it is that you want to deliver. And to do that, we need to just mirror people, and we need to mirror those cultures. When we think about this idea of effortless experiences, we've said today that we need to be able to remove the complexities that get introduced into the system. And if complexity is the arch enemy of product adoption, I would submit to you that it's also the arch enemy of culture adoption. Customers sometimes just don't want to do business with us because we just don't mirror them. And there's a specific call to action of how we can help them be successful by keeping them in mind for what effortless and simple means to them. It's a privilege to help open Customer Success Summit 2018 conference. And as we think about the things that we'll learn over the next couple days, and probably most importantly, as we all go back to our offices and into those meetings after meetings where we're thinking about our customers, I would leave you with a call to action. And that is that to accelerate the impact of customer success, we all need to think like a customer. And we can do that through, one, please, less acronym soup. And two, let's really think about the experiences that we're designing and put our customers at the center of those effortless experiences. Thank you.